Ladies and gentlemen, I've got some exciting news for all you historical gamers out there. We've got a new Napoleonic Wargame on the horizon. This is Veterans Napoleonic Wars, and it's by Tactical Boar, who are both the developer and the publisher. And I'd just like to say thanks to those guys for sending me a very early copy of the game to check out and ask for my feedback on, which was very much appreciated. Very important to note at the moment that what you see here is just a very early in-development stage of the game. There's quite a bit of work to be done yet and a lot of things to be added into it, mechanics to be worked on, but it does look like it's got quite a bit of promise. As a big fan of historical war games, particularly of the Black Powder era, I feel like we're currently not very well served on the PC market for games like this, particularly when it covers some battles that most games don't touch. You always see Waterloo covered, but the Veterans Napoleonic Wars decided to start much earlier in Napoleon's career, covering his battles in Italy against the Austrian Empire. I think this could be a very interesting campaign that we get from these guys. I'm looking forward to see how it works. Now, at the moment, there's only 3 battles I can choose to try out. The tutorial, which you can see in the background footage here, and 2 others. And the idea is very similar to games we've seen like Ultimate General. You'll take your army into battle, you'll fight over objectives, there's a time limit, or maybe you just need to wipe out the enemy forces and chase them off the field. And if you're successful, you'll carry your army forward, and the experience it gains into the next battle and the next one. I like the idea of this, but that's not currently available to test, so that's coming in the future. Really looking forward to trying that out. But playing the tactical battles, it does feel very familiar, and it didn't take much trying out at all to get into the hang of this. Most of your army is made up by Napoleonic infantry armed with the smoothbore musket. These guys march around in line formation for firepower, column to move a bit faster, and there's the square to defend against cavalry. There's also a open order. Now, this wasn't used by all armies, but the French, I think particularly in the early part of the Napoleonic Wars, did deploy entire regiments or battalions or maybe even brigades in open order, which is like a skirmish order, and that's available to use here as well. Ammunition and morale is tracked, but in the case of morale in particular, they're still working on this system, so units will, at the moment, they'll fight to the death. But the idea is, of course, they will break and run away at points when the morale system is fully implemented. Then, of course, we've got artillery, the big cannons. These are usually safer deployed at the back to bombard at long range, but if they do get close, they can switch to canister, which, for those not familiar with the term, is basically turning the cannon into a giant shotgun where it blasts a load of musket balls at the enemy target. This is very devastating in the game at the moment. We have tried this out, and it's quite fun. And we've got cavalry, the mounted arm, much more mobile, good at charging into melee, getting around flanks, and we have general units as well. Now, you might have more than one per army, depending on what formation of units that they're in charge of, and these guys give a bonus in their command radius, fairly similar to the game mechanics we've seen before. The battles certainly aren't static, and in the few that I've tried out, we can have reinforcements coming on from different edges of the map, giving you quite a lot to look over and keep an eye on, so things can develop pretty quickly. Moving units around is also very simple. You can select several at once and then give them an order, and they'll move in that direction. You can also order or command what direction they will face when they get there. That's all simple to do. Or if you want to be quite clever, you can actually click and draw a line on the map, and the unit will follow the line that you draw to get into position. That's particularly useful if you want to move troops around an obstacle, or perhaps bring some cavalry awkwardly long way around a flank to get behind the enemy. I've used it for purposes like that. Works very well and very similar to the Ultimate General games, so it becomes a second nature to me. As I say, they haven't fully implemented all the systems at the moment, so morale and melee works, but I sense that needs a few more adjustments. And at the moment, so it's just walking up and blazing away at people. So if you've watched the old Sharps TV series, 3 volleys and give them the bayonet, lads, then you'll be well familiar with that. And the game seems to feel and run reasonably quickly and quite well. And of course, for something that's not been finished, well, we'll have to wait and see how it comes out, and I'm not quite sure what the timescale is on that, but it's certainly one I'm going to be keeping an eye on. It has been many years since I've played a good Napoleonic War game that actually feels like it's trying to mirror the real mechanics of the fighting at the time. And the fact that the battles will be strung together into a campaign, so your success or defeat and consequences are going to matter, I like that a lot too. So very much one to watch for, and I'm looking forward to learning a bit more about the battles involved in these early campaigns, because that's not really my area of knowledge when it comes to the Napoleonic Wars, but it's an area that I think is very much underserved in video games because I haven't seen many focused on these battles before. So I'm looking forward to playing this one when it comes out. And of course, I'll bring you guys some more news on it whenever I get any, and maybe if there's any big developments, who knows, we might take another look at it before it releases too. If you're interested in learning more, or if you like this sort of content, then do make sure to like the video, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below as well. And we'll see if we can find out a bit more about this and maybe give it a full playthrough in a campaign when it releases.